Well, welcome again to another testimony. I'm being overawed by the amount of great stories that people have got, life stories, true stories, and it's my pleasure today to chat to Surinder. We're trying to get as many of the ladies on as possible. We've had lots of guys give their testimonies, but it's really great to have Surinder here this morning. She's been part of our church for, I don't know, a good 5-6 years, I guess. But tell us a little bit about your story, because obviously you weren't born up in a Christian home. Your background wasn't predominantly Christian at all, was it? So what happened to you?
Basically, I think from when I was born, mum and dad used to go to church. But obviously our upbringing wasn't that great because my mum suffered from depression and we was in and out of the care system. So as well as my mum going to church, my mum and dad going to church, when we was at home, we did used to go to church, but obviously growing up, I did think I was a Christian up until, I had my own probably I'd say calling from God. That's when, I think my journey started. I think my mum and dad, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they were Hindu. But when they come into this country, as far as I know, when I was born, they started going to church. They got involved with, like the Massey family, who have a church. They used to have a church in School Street in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we kind of grew up in and out the care system, and my mum suffered from depression. Gradually, as I got older, I was allowed to go home. And I think with me, my journey started with the Lord when I was with my partner, and like my sister first come to the Lord, she got saved. She used to tell me about Jesus, and I used to think to myself, well, no, that's not for me. And sometimes in life, you go down your own route, and I thought to myself, well, I thought I was bad, and that Jesus, if you're bad, then that's it. You can't go down that route. But I remember I had a Bible that my dad gave me. Well, years ago, my lung collapsed and I was in hospital. My dad gave me this little Bible. My mum and dad always, they're praying parents. I had this brown Bible, and I always used to look at it, and I always used to read Psalms 23. Although at that time I didn't really understand why, but I just used to pick up this Bible. But then it all started with me when my son's dad, he started feeling like really down, and he was going and looking at like self-help books. He was ordering these books. Well, anyway, I picked up the one because then I wasn't feeling too great in myself anyway, so I picked up this book, and when I started reading it, I was like, this book's really good, and it had scriptures in it. Well, this book, I remember reading, like, is it Philippians? I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me.
Yeah.
And before then, I felt so weak in myself, and like I wasn't working, I wasn't really doing a lot, to be honest, but I just felt down in myself as well. So I picked up this book and I started reading it, and the scriptures just spoke to me. From that book led me to the Bible. I started reading the Bible, but it's like something was trying to pull me away from getting closer to the Lord. Something happened, like on the night, like when I was going to sleep, I could feel like there was like a spiritual battle, and it was really bad. Prior to this, a couple of weeks before this, I remember talking to my son's dad about going to church, and I remember he went to a gym. He took my son to a gym. This is, like Calvary Church, at the back you've got a gym. Well, anyway, he got stuck in the car park, and somebody who was in the church had parked their car in front of him. so he'd had to get out and go to the church, and so he could move his car. But that was a church we decided to go to, because when this spiritual battle was going on the night, I wanted to go to church, so we decided to go there. That's when I met Pastor Paul and Pastor Gail, and Gail prayed for me, and that's when I gave my heart to the Lord. But I know the Lord saved me. I know the Lord saved me. But I decided to get baptized. After then, I started going to church. Me, my son, and my son's dad started going to church. Everything was going okay. I got baptized, but that's when the real journey started. After that, I went through a really tough time with my son's dad, and he ended up committing suicide, which was really tough. I struggled. I was trying to be there for my son as well, and but I felt that in them 7 years, this is going back probably about 8 years now, but in 7 years, it's like I was in the wilderness. I really struggled. I really, really struggled. I didn't know, I couldn't kind of, I just really struggled. But I knew the Lord was there no matter what. I knew he was there through it all. He was holding my hand. It was only up until I remember, I just thought, I can't take this no more. I can't carry on my life like this. And I remember I just got on my knees, and I was so brokenhearted, and I just cried out to the Lord. And then from then, things just changed. Things just changed. I started coming to Sedgley Church. The Lord actually showed me, because I remember speaking to you, and I remember you saying to me if I needed any help or anything. And, I started meeting up with John and Alison, and they helped me out, so much. They helped me through my journey with the Lord. Also, with my brother as well, because there was 5 of us. We lost my brother to cancer a couple of years ago. That was quite hard as well. I mean, he started coming to church, and
Yeah, did you?
yeah, he started coming to church, and he brought my nephew as well, Danny, who suffers from autism. But you know what? I know, with Shirley as well, because I remember when my brother passed away, we was in Compton Hospice, and my brother was there on the bed, and all the family were there. We was praising God, even Shirley, and the support that we had from her was just amazing. We just, it was amazing.
Yeah. Your life's not always easy and straightforward, is it? And I think what I love about these testimonies is people are just being dead honest.
Yeah,
I want to say to people today, you may have come to Jesus some time ago, but it's
yeah,
not really until you throw yourself on him wholeheartedly do you
yeah,
know exactly that. Well, I think somebody said it, until Jesus is all you've got, you don't
yeah,
realize Jesus is all you need. And I think that's been your story, hasn't it?
yeah, he does. Yeah, God's amazing.
It's amazing, and obviously you've been on the front line during the lockdown,
Yeah,
doing your care work and stuff. So, how have you found that? Has that been tough? Has it?
it has been tough. I have found that a lot of the service users, because they've got no family coming to visit or anything, they've got really lonely, and some of them only probably see us. I mean, I prayed for one guy yesterday, and I just felt like a heaviness off him. And he let me pray with him. So I just pray that God will, touch him and use him, basically. Yeah.
Because I think it was through your care work really that you actually came to Sedgley, wasn't it? Because you met Chris Pitt, didn't you? I think that was part of the journey as well.
It was one of our service users, Christine Pitt, and then she told me about the church, and she kept saying to me, come to church, and I was like, okay, okay. And then I think I got back in touch with Ian Henley and Jan Henley, and on Facebook they had something about the church, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go, and then from there basically.
Yeah, and part of your story as well is that obviously you were looking after a lady, caring for her, which happens to
Yeah,
be Alan's mom, and you and Alan are now together and looking to get married, which is just brilliant. So God's been really good, hasn't he? Alan came to know Jesus. His testimony's on there, guys. If you've not seen Alan's testimony, it's already on Facebook. So go and have a look. Alan was in the army and suffered from a lot of stress and whatever. His story is quite incredible, and just amazing how then Surinder just asks him to come to church, and he comes and literally finds the Lord within a matter of a couple of weeks, really. So it's a great story, isn't it?
yeah. There was also Craig, who the guy who sits outside Asda.
Yeah,
I mean, because obviously I work around Sedgley, and every time I used to go into Asda, he always used to be sitting outside. So I kind of got talking to him, and asked him to come to church, which he did, didn't he?
he did.
But,
Yeah. It's been hard with Craig, obviously. Obviously, we won't say too much because this is going to go all over the place. But
right.
Craig's been hard work, and we loved him as a fellowship, and we've kind of looked after him. Tried to make some moves before the close down, actually, to try and get him away and get him some rehabilitation, which he chose not to in the end. So our prayers go out for him today. I'm guessing he's still about, and I know he's changed pitch from what I can gather. But there's a lot of people, as you say, that York service users,
Yeah.
people out on the streets that we've tried to minister to as a church that we find ourselves a bit isolated from now. But we do believe Jesus has got his hand still upon their lives, which we have to. We can keep on praying. That's all we can do. So, well, thank you so much for telling us part of your story. No, it's not all of your story because your story is amazing, and we're so proud to have you part of our church. And you're not there as much as other people because you're always working and you're always serving in the community, and that's just an amazing thing as well. But I can't wait for lockdown to finish so we can all get together. That's going to be an incredible service where we manage to stand and just worship the Lord. I just can't imagine what that's going to sound like and look like, but I do know that it's going to be a tremendous time. And so thank you so much, and thank you for your honesty again. We'll make sure this goes as many places as we can. You mentioned a few names. We want to make sure everybody that you've mentioned in your testimony gets to hear what you've said. So it's an encouragement to us all. So God bless you so much for what you're doing, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, Chick. Bye.
Okay.